we started talking about things we wanted to know in our stage of life and professional life. It's like kind of daunting thinking about speaking in front of people we have before and we have some experience, but just, how do you really like embody that confidence and also that authenticity on stage? And I was like, who's really good at that? MC1. And then we started talking about it.
Wow. That's
And you're like,
wild.
you should teach a master class.
Wow. This is the Q&A episode, if you will, or the hangout, the one-on-one plus one. If you wouldn't mind, just real quick, introduce yourself, where you're from, and your favorite cereal.
My name's Kiona. I'm over here located on the Navajo Nation, and my favorite cereal is Mini Wheats.
Ooh, that's a new one. Ain't nobody said that yet.
Yep.
Frosted or just straight up?
Frosted, half frosted. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So,
Yep.
kind of elder status on that cereal
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying. Okay, me. My name's Shilin Guy. I'm from Rockland, Montana, Chippewa Cree tribe, and I'm based out of New Rochelle, New York, where I'm currently working, and I've been living for the last 3 years now. I currently work at Synchrony, and my favorite cereal is Reese's Puffs.
And we've had that a couple times now. So I'm starting to get a Reese's Puff contingency soon.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or honestly, if I'm gonna pick a cooking cereal, it's Raisin Bran.
I always feel like Raisin Bran is like, it does its job. You know what I mean? It's like on the money. When you need it, when that's what you're looking for, it does exactly what you're looking for.
I only feel like raisins. People like really are strong feelings about raisins. What's yours?
Hey, you know what's crazy? So I've asked everybody, and nobody's ever asked in return.
What?
You're the first one. You're the first one. So you want to talk about grandpa cereal or elder cereal? I like grape nuts. What? Look at that face. Look at that face. You have to go look it up, Google it or whatever, because it's crazy. It's like a granule. So I do a layer of grape nuts at the bottom. You have to look it up. You'll be like, what? Grape nuts? He be eating some grandpa food. That's crazy. But I've liked this since forever. I do a layer of grape nuts. Then I do a layer, because I blend my cereals now, a layer of cinnamon life. And then currently my top layer is it's kind of like a Raisin Bran, but it's a blueberry. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a blueberry mixture. That's grape nuts. Yeah.
I wish you could see it better. Kiana, it's like a weird grain.
I know, I'm looking at it right now too.
It's such a weird grain. You're like, what? And you can't have it like not sweet, because you just eat it like that. It's like, what am I eating right now? But yeah, and all of my cereals are bran, because I grew up with like puffed wheat, where the ingredient was puffed wheat. That was it. Like we never had brand name food, brand name nothing. So we have like the official, if it's Captain Crunch, it's the official Captain Crunch.
But we wanted to reach out because I remember Kiana, but we started talking about things we wanted to know, learn, and like how in our stage of life and our professional life, it's like kind of daunting thinking about speaking in front of people we have before and we have some experience, but just how do you really like embody that confidence and also that authenticity on stage? And I was like, who's really good at that? MC1. And then we started talking about it.
Wow. That's
And you're like,
wild.
you should teach a master class.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, I'll tell you this right now. Anytime, my stomach hurts to this day. Anytime I'm about to get on the mic, I hate it. I get that feeling. So I don't really want it. And over the years, I've got used to how to fuel that into. So the first thing for me is I have a philosophy called the grace waits on stage, which means once I get out there, there's a bubble, and I'm able to live in that bubble and execute in that bubble. And then when I get off stage, there's usually an equal rush to the that I felt beforehand. So over the years, the energy wise, I've accustomed it to kind of like a tsunami where the water will go away from the shore before it floods over the shore. So energy wise, I'll get a huge depletion before I'm on stage to present or speak or whatever, and then afterwards I get the rush, the full, like, the energy comes back of like, oh man, that's crazy to hear that it lands like at a high level, because I'm always real nervous. And then nerves go down the more preparation there is. So the level of preparation can curb some of that. To if I really, really know what I'm like, I have a presentation I deliver at schools, and it's so muscle memory now that I look forward to it. I still have a little bit of like energy wise, but I don't have the dread that I do when we're going around a circle at a conference and they go, okay, would you like to share a couple words? I'm like, oh gosh, I don't have, what was I going to say? What am I? So feel free, ask away. Anything I have from my experience about being on stage. I don't have like a curriculum or anything other than, the energy part and my approach to the stage. And I will say the first thing with public speaking is the use of a microphone. And the rule number one with microphones is the microphone is not for you. The microphone is for them. So I get a lot of people who say, oh man, I don't need a mic. I did theater for years. I don't need a mic. Sometimes that's a cop out because they don't like the way they sound in the speakers. But how you sound in the speakers is how you sound to us all the time. You're just hearing it for the first time. So yeah. So that people go, oh God, and they move away. If you move away from the mic, now the sound person out front has to turn it up. And when they turn it up, that's how you get feedback. So you really want to get into the mic. The mic is your best friend, and the mic isn't for you. The mic is for them, so they can hear you without effort. That's why a mic is important. The mic is important so that people can hear you without effort. If they have to try to hear you, you're kind of losing already, and you haven't even given them content yet. And so we want to make it as easy as possible for them to receive the information. Anytime you're speaking, what you're saying, it's important. And if it's important, you want to do everything you can on your part to make it easily receivable. And the mic is the first step on that. Obviously, if you have, a room of 15 people and you can communicate without one, that's fine. But I'm saying the second that we get in conference space and you get over a certain amount of people, it's just better to get your mic situated and not be afraid of it. If that helps. Moving that into an industry where you're monetizing your ability to do that depends both on your ability to do that and the content you carry. So if you're going to be an MC, then there's a service skill of you being able to capture a crowd, bring attention to who's coming next, and send it on to them. That's just a service as an MC. If you're a content carrier, then it's how well you carry that content and how well you deliver that content.
Now that I'm remembering this correctly, this conversation came up, Kiona, because somebody asked you to MC, right?
Yes. And then I think we were talking about how difficult it is to present in front of Indigenous spaces sometimes. Like just for the Navajo Nation, for example, when I see people go up there, they try to crack a joke, and half the time it never lands. Not even half the time, 3/4 the time.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about that, and even feel funny to make that laugh. And we said that you're really great at, like you just said, capturing the crowd. So if you have any,
humor is one tool. It's just one tool. Some people, if you were in a video game and you had your little indexes of what, speed, whatever, if humor is one of those tanks, it's not the main or only tank. It needs to match your style. So there's some people who have a real large humor tank. Their ability to pronounce somebody's name is terrible. So which one do you want on that? For me, I'm terrible at memorization under nervous situations. So I try not to put myself in positions to be the actual host, only because I know my skill set. And my skill set's not very good without rehearsal of memorizing somebody's name pronunciation, because I'll double think it under duress. If I get up there and I get stressed, what was it? What was it? I just freak out, and I'll brain lock on people that I know. I can brain lock over people that I know their name. And so because of that, I'm just honest about my skill set. For me, humor is one lane, but I don't know that it's the only lane or the most necessary lane. And if you're okay with the awkward, not funny, that's cool too. You know, that plays where you're like, okay, so that's all right. When I see people do that, I'm not humiliated for them at all. I laugh with them on that. When they're okay with it, I'm okay with it.
That's really good.
I was kind of thinking of like, I guess when I think about presenting in front of a group of like young college students or high school students, um, I think I'm always trying to balance the message I'm trying to get across, but also what I think that they should, what I think they want to hear, not what they
Mm,
should hear, but what I think they want to hear. And if that's finding, and sometimes that ends up putting me in a state of like freezing because I don't know what is going to land, but
mm,
also I don't really, I don't want to sound like that one person that's like, I know better than you because
mm.
I'm older and coming from that sort of place. And so, but yeah, but also trying to just like craft my message for people that are younger.
So sometimes it's a matter of how we deliver the content. Um, I like that you're thinking about who's receiving the content. I'm real big on a philosophical point. I'm real big on person in the seat. So I frame everything not from the stage, but I frame everything from the chair. And sometimes I'll even go out in the conference center and I'll sit in the worst possible seat first, just to see how does it feel to this person here. What are they seeing? How are they hearing? How do I reach this person? If this is the one I'm trying to reach, how do I reach this person? A lot of times we present from the stage where things easy for me, but I like to present from the perspective of who's going to use it. That helps me deliver better. Over the years, it's helped me deliver better because I've thought in my head ahead of time. I've thought about it from their perspective. The big thing for me in presenting is we go to a restaurant and present every time we order food. We've looked over material, we've decided on what we want, and then we present that to the wait staff. And presentations are basically that. Presentations are I have information and I would like to share that information with you. So presentations are way less strenuous than a performance. And the hard part is knowing where that line is between presentation and performance. Once it becomes performative, now there's a lot of nervous expectation on landing when you think about a performance, you think about like choreography and blocking and all the theatrics that go into a performance. But when you go into a presentation, now it's how do I give this information from an authentic, place, and most people can read into that. And then the other line too, I'm primarily trying to reach the one. And by the one, I mean the person it's for. And by the person it's for, it means the people it's for. And that keeps me from trying to reach everybody because I'm never going to reach everybody. So what I'm trying to do is present the best that I can for those that want it. And then I try not to get my feelings hurt or get any kind of way when I look at the buffet line and think, oh, they really ate this, but they didn't really eat a lot of that. That's okay. That might not have been for that group. And then what I like about what you're saying is that you want to take some intentionality on was it the way it was presented that they didn't take it, or was it not for them? Is there a way that I can circle back to this content? So I have some content that can be kind of boring. It's real stats or whatever, but I've worked a way over the years to incorporate that with visuals. I don't read the slides. The slides are for them. They're not for me. So this, just like the microphone, the slides are so that they can receive information without effort. So I have slides on the screen that help them take in content, but I'm not reading them. I'm using that to address, and I'm giving them other information that support what's on the screen. And then when other stuff is on the screen, I'm narrating this experience that we're having because I'm sharing this content with them. And then when I get to the boring stats, hopefully I've set the table to where this stat now matters. It's not just a stat. It's not just, so far 25 under 25, it's not just a line item now. I've set the table to where now this stat matters. This music industry was a $14 billion industry. This music industry is a $14 billion industry. $18 billion is what alcohol companies make on underage sales. Wow. So when presented in that fashion, I could have just led with $18 billion is what alcohol companies make on underage sales by itself. But by setting that up with the music stat, it then makes this important, and it makes them hear it as, wow, that's a stat. That landed a little more than it would have landed without that first part.
I really like what you said about the performance versus presentation, because I think when I'm in this space, in this kind of corporate space, and I'm working, and I've had to do presentation in front of leaders. So we're not explaining information, but we're also almost performing because you want to leave a good impression. You want them to think you're smart. You want them to think you're capable. And I think a lot of times it's where a lot of my nerve came from, because I felt like I had to perform as to what I think this type of person is, not who I'm actually, but what I think that type of person is. Mm-hmm. A lot of times I'm imagining someone that's like not myself. So performance versus presentation, that really hit.
I can't remember how many years it was in that, because I come from performance background. Like I'm a performer in large degree, but it was enormous stress relief to stop having to perform. That it's just I'm just presenting. There's a freedom in that, to where it's like, oh, dope. So my bad, hit my mic. And if you're emceeing, you're just presenting who's next. So that takes a lot of stress off, You're just keeping the agenda moving. You're helping them. That's a service you're providing. And because there's so much fear involved with people not wanting to do that, that's why it's a service that's monetizable, because it's a service not everybody wants to do. Even I sometimes don't want to do it. I'd rather just do the music part and let somebody else introduce. So if we were all in the same room at an event, and I had the opportunity to just do the walk-ups and let you introduce who's next, I would gladly let you do it. Even though I'm comfortable on the mic, I still would rather somebody else do it. Even if that meant pay you for that service.
What about something as small as, not small, but I notice sometimes I can notice the confidence of different people when they're up there, but like yourself, you said you're still nervous, but it doesn't show. Your voice is not shaking. You're still speaking clear and smooth and calm and confident. So if you're still nervous, how is that delivery? Yes, you have talent and gift, but like, did you train anything? Maybe it's just reps.
It is
maybe
reps.
Someone does have a shaky voice. Like, can there be anything that they can do to, work out that muscle?
Yeah, reps. You nailed it.
Reps.
It's reps. There's an experience. When I say grace weights on stage, you don't know that till you've been there and you experience that, and then you go, and then the next time you go, when I get out there, it'll be all right. Like when and then I found that the correlation between prep and nerves go together. So the greater the preparation, the less the nerves. Reps on the macro is just muscle memory of experience, that over time you've experienced a thing and then been okay. You experienced it and then been okay. And then where there might be small tweaks that you make that you go, okay, next time I'm gonna do this. That's what, once I get out on stage, I have no choice. So I project the strength that I needed. I'm projecting that. And some of that's projecting. I'm hearing that it's landing as confidence. It's also for me. I'm out there and I'm gonna be like, well,
I'm kind of wondering, how do you balance? Because I think I've heard what you're saying, and it definitely lands like waiting for your kind of just like you need that preparation, making sure you are ready. But when do you stretch yourself and say like, I'm just going to do this, even though I don't feel prepared at all? I guess like, or is that related to what you're saying? Are we talking about preparation just generally, like having the background and prep there, or are you talking about preparation as in like you feel like you've done the work up until this point to be ready for the opportunity? Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. You can only be as prepared as you know. You don't know what you don't know. So there are times that you're going to be in a position that you didn't account for, and on the fly, you're going to have to figure that out in real time. And then confidence, I feel like, comes from those moments of figuring it out. And then I trust myself over the years now that when I'm in that position, I'll either figure it out or I won't. And in either case, I'm going to be okay, like on the macro. Fear tends to create what you're afraid of. So I try to stay out of fear, but it's a battle. It's something it's a cognitive. Oh, wait, I'm being afraid. Don't be afraid. Just try it. But it's not like I'm all the time, fearless. I wish I could say that. I'm not. Uh, but then they also say courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to go anyway. So that's where, you got to have a little courage and try it.
I have another question, Marcus. When you're speaking to, let's just say us, more one-on-one with
Mm-hmm.
a mentee type of situation, having that space of allowing them to be vulnerable, but also that you are the adult in the room or the mentor in the room. Is there I guess different techniques of how you would talk to someone um, to allow them to be vulnerable versus peer-to-peer or mentor to mentee? I guess that's what I was curious about. If there's anything that changes, is it standard all the way around? Because I think you're really great at making people feel safe,
Hmm.
but also you're not like falling apart too, where I have to, are you cool, Marcus? It's like you allow other people to be a little bit on the mentee side.
That's a great question. I'd have to think about the settings. I've never felt mentor or mentee. I've always
Mm-hmm.
felt peer, whoever I'm talking to. Whether I'm talking to a high school kid, whether I'm talking to a middle schooler, I know I'm not their peer, but in my mind, we're all just people sharing info. And I don't know if that's accidentally caused that, you're saying, but my overarching goal has always been I want to be a safe place. So that's very warming to hear because that's the goal. I do want that. And when I find areas over my evolution of life that I've gone back and thought, yeah, we need to evolve. That's not safe. So let's evolve our verbiage to a more safe form. I always want to be learning and growing and creating safety in how I come across. So that's definitely goal. And yeah, so I've all, you know, even in my friend groups, when I talk to my younger friends that, about situations that are intimate or whatever, I've never seen a hierarchy in the dynamic. It's always been just, hey man, we're just sharing info together. Even us on this call is just, peers, like we're in the same field. And I may have had a little more at bats is the only difference. And so from those extra at bats, what is your take on this? Bet I'll share my take on some extra at bats, but um, I've never had a hierarchy from my end, you know.
I really took away a lot from that, honestly. Like, so I have this mentee here who just started the program, and she's really cool. Like, we gotta connect, and I have been trying to navigate like really how to have like this like mentee mentor relationship because it's established as such, and I am in
Mm-hmm.
the hierarchical kind of way of thinking because it's a corporate company, and it's really hard to not absorb that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at my mentee, I'm like, wow, she's starting with like a much greater toolbox than I started with. So I'm like, dang, what can I offer her? You know what I mean? Like, how do I, what can I offer in this relationship that even that like she probably already knows? And so I come up with a few things, just kind of like an approach to like, it's more about personality. Like, how are you taking care of yourself outside of work? And identifying what you're really good at, maybe identifying things you're developing at, and how can we make a plan to like just increase those skills, basically. So like I'm wondering, like from your perspective, like if you've approached like a relationship, even though you said you didn't necessarily look at them here, but when you approach a relationship like that, like how do you determine what you want to pass on or how to like really connect with that relationship? Yeah.
I don't know anything. Like when I'm presenting, I have a few cards that I'm trying to land. But in any given relationship, I'm at the disposal of what they want. So it's whatever, if I can be of service to whatever on their end, the person in the seat, so to speak, back to that. I don't have a preloaded agenda of items that need to be given necessarily. Even for this, when you guys asked, I was like, oh man, public speaking and going to this. I started to think about, and I thought, you know what, we're just gonna chit chat about it and just us three hang out and talk about talk shop a little bit and see what comes out of it. Because there might be some little nuggets that are good for all of us. So it's rare that I have a preset line items of things, unless like there's something specific that I know that relationship has. A couple of my buddies have specific things that you know something might hit my algorithm that's like, ooh, that's for him, or I go, ooh, that's for her. So there might be something like that that comes across that I'll go, well, I might have that for them. Oh, did you see this? Maybe, and it might be for somebody we have in common that I go, this might help, him with his daughter. But other than that, I'm more willing to freestyle off what they would want. And if they don't know, that's cool too. We can hang out. I got you. What you want? What kind of coffee you want? Sometimes it's more being available than it is the presenting. It's like I'm here. Someday you might have a lot. Someday you might have not have a lot.
You still drink espresso with milk.
Still got espresso. Yeah, I got you. I do feel. I do see that. I do feel that role. I do. Like if we were all out of coffee, I would have bought y'all's coffee. Just that. I wouldn't even have thought of that. That just would have been what I would have did. Maybe that's mentor ish behavior. Maybe that's the one area where I feel that where I would have took y'all to eat or But other than that, the exchange of ideas is mutual.
Okay, so this kind of, I don't know if this is gonna come out right, but what you're kind of explaining is almost like an absence of ego. You know, no
Yeah.
one's ahead of you, no one's below you. I think it's how were you just born that way? How did you get there? I notice, at least for myself, I have a lot of like hierarchy when it comes to age, at
Mm.
least. You know, I mean, as much as you are saying all of that, I think there's still going to be a level of respect. But I think it's not saying like there's no respect. It's just I don't know. I think that's what's kind of I'm trying to that's a really cool place to be, at least to view people that way.
Mm.
It's okay if they don't view me that way, but at least view people that way. I don't know if you've took a journey to get there or
Yeah, I think it probably has been a journey. The 19-year-old me would be totally different, just less self-aware,
mm,
still compass on self a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like compared, and I'm not saying I don't have self. We do, but at one point, you know, there became the inward journey of how do I chip at this ego? Anytime I get a chance, you know, um, and I'm not saying that my humility is my greatest attribute. Not that. Not to be all sacred. This time say good words about me. Not that. But on the real, I mean, that's the goal is to be more humble than prideful, right? Like that's what we shoot for. I thought that goal was that at some point. So when I do have opportunities to try to shave ego at the intersection of conflict, where it's like I can tell my issue is my ego, then that tells me what the answer is. That I should probably not side with ego. I should side with humility, which sometimes is an act of will, where you're like, but awareness is key because I think a lot of times ego blinds you, and when you feed ego long enough, then you're not aware of what I'm sure there's stuff today still that in 5-10 years I'll look back and go, man, if I would have, okay, I have a better angle on that now. And that's what age and at bat to do. When you have more experience, it just gives you a little more macro view. They call it supervision, not because of the title, but because you should be able to have a super visual. You should be able to see further because you're a little further on in the journey. So that's what supervision, where that word comes from. But as far as, yeah, I wasn't born. I wasn't born like that for sure. Not. That's the journey, is just being willing at the intersection of hubris and humility, of trying to side with humility. Go, what would humility take? Okay, so that's probably the answer then. You know what I mean? Even when it's that kind of a shift, I have to choose that because I go, that was hubris. That was me. That was me trying to make it about me. Okay, I see now. Let me go the other way then. That happens a lot with my corporate confrontations. Like, there's a lot of times that I just want to like confront, but over the years have became to where I only confront now in a corporate climate. I only confront when it's principle. So when it's personal, I don't confront. I wouldn't have no need to confront on anything personal. I'll pray about that. I have my own area of personal introspection to sift my own personal wounds, if you will, or whatever. But when it's principle, then we may have a conversation about it if it's principle. But now it's not ego. Now it's not driven by a personal agenda. Now it's just principle. And when it's principle, now I can confront with the goal being understanding, not being right. I'm not confronting you because I'm right and you're wrong, and I want to make sure you know that. I'm confronting you now because I need some more understanding, because there's a principle. Help me reconcile this principle gap we got here, because we have this issue and I'm still on, it doesn't line up with this principle. Can you help me with that? That conversation will go a lot further than me being ego driven, but
I think it definitely helps with communicating
it does.
people.
Can.
I was kind of thinking about like maybe when it said like your relationship with ego and the goal is humility. I guess like saying like trying to determine like is humility the goal, and using humility in the right places, but also using I don't know what another word for it is, but basically self promotion, which
Mm-hmm.
feels sometimes like the opposite of humility. And I feel
Mm,
Kiana and I have this conversation a lot about, you know, it's so hard to talk about yourself. It's so
Yes.
hard to talk about yourself and to promote yourself, and then also to, in another side, to use the right words I find to talk about myself and say, I'm da 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 da, I'm working on this, and making it sound sometimes more important than it is. Um, so, how do you self promote from your own place of authenticity and who you are?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You've been waiting
So
for
this is a
yeah.
challenge. It's a challenge. This one is so good. Like one of my buddies the other day was telling me, he's in the NBA. He's a native dude, does videography. He's one of our players, personal videographer now. So he's on the court all the time. This dude just followed me with his little phone, almost like he had a basic camera back in the day. Followed me on the court. This is a young kid. I met him at a team conference, and now he's one of the players' personal videographers. And in his journey, he was saying, "Hey man, I just got to get there first." And I was like, dang, that's dope, bro. Cause like he's just saying, like his heart is to pay back. His heart is the community. His heart is representation. But there was a season where he's got to get there first. And then I think about when you're on a plane and they tell you got to put your mask on first. So there's a time where it needs to be about you, even though it's not about you. So what they don't tell you on a plane is that if you don't put your mask on, you have about 12 seconds before you're unconscious. That's what they don't tell you. So if there's a cabin pressure problem, you're going to be asleep within 12 seconds. You're out. You don't have enough oxygen. So you're not going to be able to put your mask on your kid. You're not going to be able to put your mask on anybody else. But your gut instinct in that environment is going to be for you to reach to one of your loved ones and put their mask on. And before you're done, you're all out. So that's why they tell you put your mask on first, because you're not going to be any service to anybody if you don't get your mask on. So that's why that's crucial, is sometimes you got to put you, and this is me talking to me too. Sometimes you got to put you out there because it's for who's following you. So when they ask, who do I work for? I don't work for the Thunder. I don't work for Unity or Able. I work for the people. That's who I work for. And I also work for who's next. So when I do have to put myself out there, when I do have to make a YouTube thing, or I do have to post on Instagram, the what I'm doing might be for me, but the why I'm doing it doesn't have to be for me. It's okay if I get something out of it, but the why is for the people that it impacts and who's next. Who's gonna take up that office next? Which two or three indigenous people at Synchrony are going to work at Synchrony because you had that spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people are going to fill your position at the tribe because you were there? You know what I mean? Like, so there is a time where you got to put yourself out there and self promote a little bit, but it's a battle because what our preconceived ideas of what humble means sometimes gets in the way of, that's where you're trying to be lowly or use humility as an excuse, And then I think about if you were on that plane and you were like, no, I'm good. I don't need a mask. I'm okay. And they're like, all right, well, you out then. But so there's a balance, and that's a part of our corporate grind is that's part of our struggle, is that balance of us. When is this okay to be me? Okay, I got to be out here. It's me. Why? Because it's not about me. It's about who's coming up behind me, who needs me out here to show them it's okay to be out here. You know, yeah, that's where I feel like the balance comes from, navigating. And I just think about him saying, "Hey man, I had to get there first." Okay, dope. Get there. You get there, do your thing, and then you can always get back after.
Mm.
Crazy. I'm talking to me. I struggle with putting these shows together. I struggle with putting myself out there. I do. But part of it's fear, and I try to use humility as an excuse to not overcome my fear.
Mm.
Take. Not me. Okay.
No, for real. Exactly. The fear of being perceived is a huge one. Yeah. Really great catching up. It's nice to meet you.
Appreciate y'all. Keep me in the loop. How things go.
For sure.
Dope. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you,
See y'all.
Marcus.
No, well, thank you. Thank you.